Now let's go ahead to run the code analysis on our Maven project. So they say running a Sonarqube analysis with Maven is straightforward. You just need to run the following command in your projects folder. So for us to get started, let's log into our Maven server. We already set up Maven in our previous modules. So I'll select the Maven server. I'll click on connect. If you do not have a Maven server, set up a Maven server. Use the previous module to set up a Maven server, because we need that for this given step. Once you click on connect, you copy the credentials for this given Maven server. I'll come to my terminal, and then I will cd into the directory that has my key pair. So if I do pwd, my key pair is currently on my desktop. I'll be running the ssh command here on my desktop, which has my key pair. So I'll paste the command to ssh to my Maven server. Once I hit enter, it'll give me the configuration to SSH into my Maven server. So once I SSH into my Maven server, all I need to do is to cd into practice project, or well, let me do an ls so we can see we already set up the Maven project. So we have the practice Maven learning project. If I cd into the practice Maven learning project, I should see, and I do an ls, I should see the different code base. This is our project code base. I'll cd into the Java application code. If I do a tree, remember we installed tree on our Maven server. If I do a tree will give me a list of all the content of my repository. I have the source, which contains the main and the test, and of course we'll be doing the test on the Java application, on the demo application.java, and the demo application test.java. So this is what we'll be running the test on. So for us to do the scan on this our code base, we come back to our Sonarqube, we select the Java project, we copy this, and then we take it back to our code base. Remember, we are in our, if I do a pwd, you'll see we are in our practice Maven learning directory and in our Java code. So we'll paste that command here. Remember, I copied the command here from Sonarqube, and I paste the command here. So once you paste the command here, you hit enter. And now it will tell you scanning for projects. So this basically is running all the scans on your given Java project code base. So if it runs the building, the Java web app, and basically this is Sonarqube scanning your entire project code base. Is running the various scan on your project code base, is doing Java class path, and equally developers equally injected a test. So once you do that configuration, you will see we have a build success. Now if you have a build success, they say more about the report processing at this. So you need to come back to your web, so you need to go back to your Sonarqube server on your console to have more information on the scanning result. So I'll come back here. You see automatically it has put here that our passed, or you put here automatically that our Java web app has passed. So if you come, you see we have 0 bugs based on the code base we submitted. We have 0 vulnerabilities. We have 1 security hotspot. If you can come to security hotspot, you see what exactly that security hotspot is. They say you have, make sure that the command line arguments are used safely here. This is the security hotspot. They tell you that using command line arguments is security sensitive. It has led in the past to the following vulnerabilities. These are some vulnerabilities that this particular security threat is giving us with respect to the code base which we submitted. Now, if you come to are you at risk, they say are you at risk? So they tell you that if you do public class main, the role raises an issue as soon as there is a reference to argv. These are all Java-based programming configuration, so you don't necessarily need to understand this. So this is the ask. These are the sensitive code example. This is what we have as sensitive code, and then now they give you how you can fix that code. If you have to fix the code, this is how you fix the code. We are not developers, Java developers, so this will be most usable for a Java developer. And then they give you how can you fix the code here, so you can check out these documentations to fix the code. Now, basically, we've been able to run the scan on our project. We've been able to run the scan on our project, and then you see the snapshot. This is when the snapshot was done, and you can see duplicated lines. We have 0% duplication. Now, let's go ahead to inject some vulnerability in our code and then push to our repository and run the scan again. So I'll come back to my VS Code containing my project code base. This is practice Maven Learning project. We already had our practice Maven Learning project. I'll click on Java application code. I want to modify our Java application code, the main code that we are using to run the project. I'll click on SRC. Under SRC is where you store the source code. I'll click on main, and under main, I'll click on Java. Now we can have the main. Remember, we have the main which contains the main code and the test which has the unit tests. So I'll click on main, and under main we have our demo Java application. So I'll click on this demo Java application. So this is basically the application which we are running. This is the basic code that we are running for our application. We have this running as far as our application is concerned. Now, for us to inject some form of vulnerability, I'll be adding some username and password to my code. Of course, it's not best practice, so let me add a username and password to my code. So I'll type string, and then I'll say I'm adding database password, DB password. This can signify some password of some database in my environment. So I'll give the password admin123 or admin at 1234, and then I'll close this. So for you to perform the test, you just need to add this string on line 11. So you give string database password DB password is equals to this. Now this is basically you modifying your code base. If you look at our GitHub, it will tell us that we've modified our project code base. Now once you do this modification, you have to do a git add to add these new changes. You do a git commit to push these changes to our GitHub repository. So modified, you can say modified project code base. You hit enter, so it will tell you that we have committed one file change, one insertion. Now for us to do the last step, we are going to do a git push. So I'll do git push into the repository using my credentials. Once I do git push, you'll see it has successfully pushed to our practice Maven Learning repo. So if I come back to my GitHub, I'll go to my practice Maven Learning. So if you come back here to repositories, you see practice Maven Learning, and you will see updated now means that we have taken, if you look here, our project Java application project, we've done some new upgrades. Now the next step is for us to come back to our server, our Maven server, which has our application code base. I'll clear, and then I'll do a git pull. We are doing a git pull because we have made new changes to our application code base here. Because we have done new changes to our application code base, we'll do a git pull over here. So if I do a git pull and I hit enter, it will tell you this, it has actually pulled the new changes, one file change and one new insertion. So based on this new change, we are now going to rerun the analysis on the new code base which we have. So I'll come back to my Sonarqube server. And I'll copy the, well, like I said, we've actually lost that configuration. That's why I said we should copy. We've already lost the configuration. That's why I said we should copy it and store in our rough.txt. So I'll come back to my rough.txt, still in my VS Code. I'll copy this configuration command which I had. I'll come back to my Maven server, and then I paste the command. This is the basic command we had to run the static code analysis or the Sonarqube analysis on our server. So once I paste that and I hit enter, again it will run the analysis on our code base. And if there are no vulnerabilities, it will update us if there are vulnerabilities or if there are no vulnerabilities in our code base. So Sonarqube is running the coding analysis on the code base. Remember, we've been able to modify our Java code base by adding some database password, and then we've pushed it to our repository. Now the build is complete. So for us to check if our analysis was successful or not, we can refresh here, and if you refresh, you will see that your analysis failed. You see your analysis failed. They'll tell you new security hotspot has been detected. Now, for us to know the security hotspot, you can click here on security hotspots. They'll tell you what the security issue is. So they tell you automatically that we have password detected in this expression. Review this potentially hard-coded credential. So if a developer randomly puts some password in his code, you as a lead developer or you as a lead DevOps engineer, you don't need to go into their code, the entire code base, to detect if there was a password that was exposed. The moment you run a Sonarqube analysis, you automatically check the code base to see if there was some form of a password that was exposed. And in this case, they will tell us a password has been exposed. And you see on line 11 in the code base, it tells you, if you look at this path here, src main java com example demo java app, this corresponds to our same path. If I was to copy the relative path here, I'll copy the path and I paste here. If I copy this path, let me take away this respect to, let me just start from the practice Maven learning. So if you look at it from the practice Maven learning, you'll see the path here is practice Maven learning java src main java.com. If you come to our analysis here, is the same path src main java.com, saying that you have exposed some password. Now they'll tell you these are some particular risks based on. So you see in the past, it has led to the following vulnerabilities. If you open this in a new tab, you'll see some of the vulnerabilities which exposing a password like this has led to. So if you come here, you can continue to cite, and they'll give you more details about this particular vulnerability. So this is more details about that particular vulnerability. Now, if you come back to our Sonarqube server, they ask, are you at risk? Are you at risk? So sensitive code example. This is an example of having a sensitive code where you have your credentials exposed. Now they ask, how can you fix this? For you to fix this, you can use this expression where you pass your username and password as secret. So based on this, if you come to overview, our pipeline or our analysis failed because we had some form of password exposed. For us to still test, we can come back to our code base. We come back to our code base here. Let me delete this. This is not important. Let's comment out this line 11. So you can put a 2 / to comment out line 11. You do a git status. Let me clear. You do a git status. You will see we have modified this Java code, src made, and all of that. So we do a git add, and then we can do a git commit -m updated code base, and then we can now git commit. Oh, I didn't spell commit right, so we do git commit -m git commit, and then now we do the last command, which is for us to do a git push. So I'll do a git push. Once I do a git push, I'll come back to my code base. So let me clear this. Once I do a git push, I come back to my code base and I do a git pull to pull the new changes. I've copied or I've put the new changes into my code base. Once I pull the new changes into my code base, I'll copy the rough.txt. Once I copy the rough.txt, so I'll run the rough.txt here, running the code analysis again. Now, the code analysis we are doing this time, if you take note, in our demo Java app, we've commented out this password which we exposed. Once we've commented out this password which we've exposed, we've copied our rough.txt. In our rough.txt, we've copied the scanning code. Once we comment out this, we push the new code into our project code base on GitHub. We do a git pull in our Maven server, and then now we are now going to copy this Sonarqube analysis code, and we run the analysis, which we already did. So you see there was a build success, and once your analysis has a build success, if you come back to our code base, previously it failed. Why did it fail? It failed because we exposed some form of a password. But if you now come back to your code base and you do an overview, you now see that it has passed, because we've been able to, if you come to security, this is the only security we have is not related to the password. We've already taken away the password security vulnerability. So that's basically how you can use Sonarqube to perform static code analysis on your given Java web application. See you in my next video.